I'm going to just turn our attention to Mimi, who's here in the studio. Mimi, thanks for coming up for us. It's, as we've been saying, a developing situation, a fluid situation. We're still trying to make sense of it. We're getting a little more detail. But what have you been picking up as you're monitoring the situation online?
Fury is the obvious word here. People are really angry. They've said that the town will look after the town, the people will look after the people. And that is mainly because there has been a lack or a slow response from the government. And we've seen this really come to a forefront when the king arrived in a town near the city Valencia, where people chanted murder to him. They were saying, "You're 4 days late. It's taken you 4 days to come. Why are you so late? You should be embarrassed." Really angry. They were throwing mud in some cases. I mean, that is unheard of, throwing mud at a king. People are unhappy. People have really blamed the system, the authorities, for the slow response, but also the really late warnings. And that was where a lot of this anger has come from, that people, if they'd known, could have got out of their cars, could have got off the road, could have gone to higher ground, gone to safety. No people needed to die in these floods. And that is why people are so upset. This is a tragedy on a huge scale, one of the worst in Spain's history, and also one of the most costly.
We've been listening in to Pedro Sanchez make those press statements yesterday when he said that we're focused on the rescue and relief efforts, but there will be a time to fix accountability to answer a lot of those questions. But having said that, what have you picked up so far about the government's defence or justification for why they couldn't do what they needed to do?
Well, the government at the end of last week came out fighting, saying they defended their timings of the warnings, even though in some areas, the first hit town, for example, Chiva near Valencia, they got their warning about 8 a.m. local time. However, by that time, they'd already been heavily flooded for at least 2 hours. And that was a common story among other towns in the region. They also defended the management of the disaster as a whole. However, as the fury grows, as the devastation is now actually being understood, the true impact of this disaster, the scale of this disaster, I think they're going to have to go back on what they've said, that they're defending it with all their might, and actually give the people an apology, because that is what they want in many cases. People I've been speaking to, they're just so upset that the government, they feel, have failed them and allowed this to happen. At the moment, the focus is still on trying to reach these really hard-hit areas, these isolated areas. We've seen volunteers, thousands of volunteers traipsing in and out of these zones, which have been turned into unrecognisable areas, homes, businesses, livelihoods destroyed. So that is the focus right now, but I'm sure, as you said, it will very quickly turn to accountability.
Right. Maybe just hold on for a moment. I just want to update that the royals, the Spanish royals, the king and queen, as we're hearing now, have just left the flood-hit town of Paiporta after facing that angry crowd. So we can confirm that they have now left, as per reports that are now coming in. Mimi, I'm just going to come back to you in terms of challenges very briefly. What is the biggest challenge now on the ground for people over there?
Challenge now is to continue raking through this devastation, ensuring that there are no people left under the rubble. That is still, although it is late now, it's still a priority. And now it's trying to recuperate lives. People's homes are destroyed, schools need to be reopened, communities are really holding each other together, but they need help. The soldiers are there, 10,000, and they are traipsing, trickling in, but it really is now an urgent situation to try and get everyone back on their feet as quickly as possible. Right.